Hello ladies! Here is our first bundle to go card for the Lift Me Up bundle. So this is the May card. We're going to do a nice cutout of that balloon and then back it with some designer series paper. Our accent color is Sweet Sugar Plum, and we're just going to go ahead and start it. Your kit's going to come, it's on base very vanilla, and you've got Sweet Sugar Plum, a piece of designer series paper from the Blooms and Bliss paper, which is retiring. It may not be exactly this piece, but it's in this color. And then you have another piece of very vanilla to cut the balloon out of for the face. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started on making the card. So I've got my very vanilla base. Score that and set that aside for a second. You go ahead and mount your designer series paper to your Sweet Sugar Plum. I'm going to use the other side this time so we can see what it looks like with one side or the other. And that just gets centered on there. Then you're going to go to your big shot and you're going to cut out your balloon, and you want to leave enough space to do the ribbon and some words. Now you notice I'm taking a piece of wax paper up. I've gone back to using wax paper when I cut some of these dies that are intricate. I have the precision cut plate, which is the black flat plate. I use the precision cut plate, then my cardstock, so no dryer sheet, wax paper, and then the die. And this one I'm going to use my die brush to try to press most of those little pieces out. This one has a lot of pieces. So you just want to hold it firm in there and pull it all apart. So there's our die. Ready to go for the next time. Get my trash can up here. Brush off some of these bits. Now remember, we're using both pieces of this, so don't think it's scrap. We need that for the front, and finish working on getting these little bits out. The nice thing is when you use the wax paper, as many of you know, these little bits pop out a lot easier just by running your fingers over them because they've got that waxy sheen on them. But I still have a couple that need some poking, so here we go, poke away. And if you like your balloon with some of those pieces still in there, just don't poke them out. That's fine. It'll just give you a more solid band of very vanilla or whatever color you're cutting it out of to use on your card. But this time I'm going to pop them all out. Oh, a couple more. Some of them are really tiny, so definitely have your piercing tool on hand. Okay, so they're all off. Put this aside. Get those pieces off that in a minute. Okay, so clean up these little scraps because they're everywhere like confetti, right? Alright, so now I've got my very vanilla, which is going to be my front, and I've got my balloon, which I'm going to piece back into my front. Okay, so what I did was I flipped it over, I put it back in, okay, kind of press it back into its spot there. Now you can use Tombow, you can use snail, you can use your fine tip glue pen, whatever glue you feel like you want to use. But this time I really did just use the snail. So I'm just going to hold that in place, and where it's thicker, I'm just going to run the snail across it. Like that. Trying not to get it into the little bits of the balloon. So I'm just kind of working around the edges a bit, because we're going to press it flat onto our designer series paper here when we do our next layer, so we'll be okay. But again, if you want to put glue dots or Tombow, you are welcome to use what you like. Alright, so now I'm just going to flip this over and center this on my designer series paper, and that balloon acts like an open window so that whatever's behind it shows through, which is really a neat way to use up some of this DSP. That's so pretty, but you know, different. Okay, so now, before we go any farther, we're going to do some selective stamping. So this stamp actually says, just a note to lift your spirits. But we're going to use our marker, and I'm using Rich Razzleberry because it's a coordinated color with the Sweet Sugar Plum. And I'm actually going to turn it upside down, and I'm just going to marker, either dab or brush, ink onto my stamp, but I'm only going to ink up those words, just a note. So this is referred to as selective stamping, so sometimes you only want to use part of the words, or a word that is in the set. Like one of the stamps in the set says, sending smiles across the miles. Well, you might just want to use smiles, so you can just ink it and then use that. So I'm going to huff that, and then use my grid lines to line up this straight stamp. So I'm going to try to stamp it kind of below the basket, but not too low because I want space for that ribbon to go in there. So here we go. Press that down. Perfect. Okay, so now I'm using my cheater bow. I'm going to take a hole punch, and I'm going to put punch in over here. Okay, and I want that to be below where my stamp just went. So my cheater bow, you take one tab, put through the back hole. I know we've done this, and I know everyone says, I can't remember how, so here you go again. So you put it through the back, you wrap it around, you put the other end through the back as well. Sometimes you need to just get the end of it started, okay? Then kind of adjust so you've got enough tail of both sides. Okay, and then you just have to tie a simple knot. Doesn't even have to be a double knot, just a simple knot, because it's already anchored by having gone around and coming through the hole. So it makes it a less bulky bow. And then if you want to go ahead and trim up your ends, if they're a little frayed there, just pull them both up and trim them at the same time. So it'll be even and same length. Okay, so there's that. So now we're going to take this piece and flip it over and put dimensionals on it. Now I posted a video from Brian King where he was showing how to mount things up, and he suggested putting one in the middle so that your card's not saggy. And then another thing I posted was another demonstrator, Laura Pruitt, said kind of crease those dimensionals with your fingertip and then the edges pop up easier. And I've been doing that, and honestly, I like that tip. So passing it on to you again. So now, let's stand up. Go ahead and place this on your card, centered. So everything's just framed in, nice and simple, but you really can use a just a note for anything. So you can stamp the inside the way you need to, or just leave it blank for that card that you need on spur of the moment, and you are good to go. Now for the envelope, I kept it simple. We have this cute balloon, and I'm just going to marker it. So I only use marker for this. It's pretty small. I just marker it and stamp it a couple times. And you know, it's your card. You can do what you want with your envelope, but there we go, a little active edge. So there we go. There is our first card for the Bundle to Goes for Lift Me Up. Hope you enjoy it. We're going to have some fun with the set, try some different techniques, and I'll have a new one for you for June. Until then, happy stamping, everybody.